Welcome back, everyone, to the After the Scales podcast, episode 39, presented by DJD Graphics. I'm Jacob Dove from Pheon Motorsports, reporting live from Hurricane Milton weather studio. I currently have a hurricane outside my window. First time that we have a podcast in these conditions, so just giving you guys a heads up in case I disappear. We also got Shaun Blight safely in Canada.
Yep.
And on today's episode, we have better known as the quickest chicken, wing sprint car driver, Chase Randall. Chase, thanks for being on the podcast today.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm enjoying being here.
So if you guys are familiar with sprint cars in general, you know that Chase was behind the wheel of the Bush's Chicken number 9, and this year he was taking on the TKS number 2KS for TKS Motorsports, and then moved on and went out west, ran the 94H for Tyner Hurst, and then came back. You've ran with Kevin Newton's Honest Abe Roofing number 16. Recently, you ran the AL Driveline number 58 at the National Open at Williams Grove. Came home 13th. Talk about that run at Williams Grove.
Yeah, it was cool. I really, enjoyed getting there back to Williams Grove. That was my second time I've ever been there. So it's to go to a big race like that with not much laps there, and get the finish we did, I felt like it was a really good job, and I was really proud of myself and the whole team, for really showing up at a big stage like that and accomplishing what we did. And it was just cool, getting to race at Williams Grove with, a track that's so historic and has so, as many such great things has happened there, I feel like, for sprint car racing. And it's just really cool to be there. And now glad to get some laps there early in my career and hopefully, set me up good for the future.
Man, I figured you wouldn't have had a lot of experience at that track, but I didn't know you didn't have quite as much or quite as little as you said you did. What was that place like going out there and just kind of hammer down and going into those hairpin turns?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you don't experience anywhere but there. So it's something you have to get used to it the first couple hot laps you get, and there's nothing like it. It's on its own, and you go into the corner, wide open down the whole straightaway, and you just hope the car sticks, and it's just I can't even describe the feeling of it. It's just crazy.
And obviously, I mentioned about the different rides that you've been a part of this year. Overall, for your 2024 season, you still have 4 wins, 21 top 5s, 31 top 10s. You've had a solid year overall. Talk to our viewers about how you feel personally, how this year's gone for your racing.
Yeah, I feel like overall it's been a pretty successful year. I feel like racing. We've done a lot of racing, with the best of the best. We've raced at Knoxville weekly this year and competed at a lot of high limit and outlaw events across the country, and I've run up front in multiple different places, out in California, getting a good finish at the Trophy Cup, or I mean the Gold Cup, and then racing at Huset's a couple of weeks ago, with the Outlaws, getting a good run and just having good success all over the place. I feel like it's been a really good learning year for me, and I'm getting a lot of experience at different places I go to.
Yeah, a lot of different tracks, driving for different teams. What's the experience been like, kind of bouncing around from team to team? Imagine maybe a little unsettling, but at the same time, pretty good experience, I imagine, working with a bunch of different people and different crew members and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely would say it has its challenges for sure. Getting to going with different people almost week to week here in the past month or so, it's been a little difficult, but I feel like it helps me a lot as a driver. Getting to work with those different people, you find out how each person works and what some people like to some people register different things as others might, and it just overall as a driver, it helps me learn kind of a lot faster, I feel like. And hopefully it's really good to do this, I feel like, at a younger age, and hopefully give me the best shot in the next couple of years.
And you mentioned, Chase, about Knoxville and the competition with high limit outlaws, but running Knoxville regularly is no slouch at all. You have guys like Brian Brown, Aaron Reitzel, even dark horses like Ayrton Jenton, Scott Boguski, all running really well there. You're running against some really good cars night in and night out. Talk about, Knoxville is not a place to, you can't make a slight error and those guys are passing you around the outside or the inside on the berm. Talk about, getting your feet wet in a 410 sprint car when you moved up from the 360 and how much experience that helped you.
I feel like it was huge. I feel like the past 4 or 5 years, maybe Knoxville has grown tremendously. The weekly competition with the cars that run their championship series, and their drivers that run week to week. Traveling in and out. You never know who's going to be there, and some of the best guys come there, and you can't really prepare for it. So you just got to be on your toes the entire time. And getting to race at Knoxville, I feel like the past couple of years has helped me a lot. For the big races like the nationals and things like that, when the Outlaws come in, to be the best prepared, and gives us a really good shot. And I mean, luckily enough, made the nationals the past 2 years at the biggest stage. So that kind of shows how much I really have worked so hard to be perfect there. I feel like most of the time, and getting to race the 360 and the 410 the past couple of years there, getting as many laps as I can really helps with that.
And Chase, I wanted to go back to the start for you a little bit, because a lot of people might not know your backstory being from Texas. You don't get maybe the same kind of microscope that maybe you would if you grew up in Pennsylvania or something like that. So where did you get your start in racing, and what's your family's background in racing?
Yeah, so my dad kind of grew up racing. He started in quarter midgets when he was younger, and kind of raced different cars throughout his life. And then I came along and started. I got introduced to quarter midgets when I was 5 years old, and was a lot. We raced a lot more intensely. You could say we raced almost every weekend. Nationally, traveling around into the circuits like that. And then a couple years doing that, we got into the micro sprints on the dirt side. That's kind of when I first got introduced to the dirt, and really took a whole new learning curve from that. Going from the pavement and quarter midgets to the micros, and then from the micros I transitioned to the sprint cars when I was 15, and I've been doing that ever since. And I really can't see myself doing anything different.
Yeah, Chase, you mentioned about, coming up through the grassroots of dirt racing. You also ran the 19 AZ car for AME Electrical and Andy Reinbold. Talk about, midgets are a whole different ball game. They're almost like a stepping stone nowadays from USAC into the big wing sprint cars. How much of that, time behind the wheel of basically a small 4-cylinder race car going really fast with, no wing on top, and translating that into what you do now in the 410?
Yeah, I honestly think the midget has quite a few similar characteristics as a wing sprint car. I feel like the driving styles are one's wing and one's non-wing, but I feel like you drive the midget super as hard as you can because it's so small and not a lot of power, and I feel like you drive the sprint car almost the same way. So there's quite a bit of learning I did. I feel like at kind of the start of my professional dirt career a little bit, and I was able to have a lot of fun doing the midget at a young age, and I did quite a bit of learning then, and I was able to transition a lot of those things that I learned into the wing sprint cars though the past couple of years, and I feel like excelled at that a little bit.
All right, Chase. I saw you at Eldora for 4 Crown Nationals, and I got a super awesome picture that I'm going to put on the screen that I sent to you, and you're using on your Facebook page. And you were watching the midgets at Eldora at the time. And what did you think of that? I don't know. I don't think you have raced midgets at Eldora. Would you? Because that looks unbelievably nuts to me.
Yeah, well, I've actually been there in a midget once. I ran the 4 Crown a couple of years ago. Um, but the midgets at Eldora are I feel like one of the scariest things to watch. They're just I feel like out of control, insane, on the fence, huge slide jobs, and you just never really know what's going to happen. So they put on a great show. Um, but honestly, I don't really feel like I could see myself, trying that again. It's just wild to see.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was talking to a couple of the guys, just watching hot laps, talking to a couple of sprint car guys, and they're like, "I would never do this." And I'm like, "Well, you guys are crazy enough, but that's just a whole other level."
Yeah,
It seems like.
you're going so much faster in the wing sprint car, I feel like, but you just have the huge wing on top, and you're not, I feel like, out of control as much as the non-wing cars, and they're just way. I feel like Eldora with that much speed is just way different.
And there's no doubt, Chase, that I feel like you've really made a lot of noise with your racing and results at Knoxville. But I want to go back, a couple of years when High Limit was just getting started with their little Tuesday and Wednesday midweek shows. You ran pretty well and consistent against, that type of competition at the time with the All Stars still running and High Limit coming to town. I feel like you had some really good results. Sometimes you had some bad luck with some flat tires and running up front and had some wrecks and some bad stuff fall on your hands. But I feel like you got your pretty big start with, turning people's heads when you ran against High Limit. Talk about that experience, getting behind the wheel of the number 9 and doing that well against them.
Yeah, it was, it was extremely challenging. I felt like, the beginning of last year, in the 2023 season when High Limit, kind of was introduced or kind of started their championship series. I feel like, I really wanted to do it, and I feel like it was a really big stage we could, kind of showcase our team and, myself as a driver. And being at the start of the last year, that was my first year full time racing 410 wing sprint cars. I ran 360s for the past 2 or 3 years, and then stepping into the 410 ranks. So we're going to the high limit shows, with Larson there, and Brent Marks and Tyler Courtney and Rico, all those big full time guys, and we're there just trying to learn as much as we can and compete up front. And I feel like we did a really good job at that, and had a few good finishes, and we just learned quite a bit. And I feel like all those experiences, I've learned from and have, made the most of that, into my, career this year, and, for my experiences moving on.
Right, so we're into early October, Chase. Do you have any plans the rest of the year to race? What's your schedule look like, and what are you hoping for next year going forward?
Yeah, so I got a few more races planned for this year, and I'm racing at Texas Motor Speedway this weekend with the Beaver Drill and Tool team, and to finish out the high limit series, and I'm hoping to get something lined up for the Dirt Oval 66 races in the following week, and Charlotte, to end the year here in America. And then a few weeks after that, I'll head down under to Australia to race for the Adelaide 500. It's a really cool invitational race they're putting on this year down in Australia. Run that for a weekend and then come home for a few weeks, and then head back down there like I have for the past couple years. I'll be down there for a little over a month, I feel like, before Christmas time, and staying, racing their speed week, and then hanging around until the classic, the really big Australian race will run again, and hopefully have good success at. Me, staying in the seat and getting myself best prepared for next year, where hopefully my aspirations are pairing up with a team that I can go on a national tour with. I'm still we're getting all those things worked out right now. There's several people I've been talking to about that, but at this time it's just me trying to find out what's going to be the best spot for me in that aspect.
Yeah, you mentioned about Australia, and obviously, not too many sprint car drivers other than some of the few top guys like Sheldon Hansfield, Rico Abreu, Corey Elias, and we've seen go over to Australia, including yourself. Talk about that experience that when you did go over there in the 9 USA car representing America, and going and seeing what the guys in Down Under are racing against, because we've seen a lot of great racers like James McFadden come and race over here. So it's cool to see the USA guys go over there and show the Aussie what's up.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, you know, as a driver, getting seat time, for maybe 20 plus races down there in our off season. When I would just be sitting around home, doing just other little things here. I feel like it's a really good time spent for me, getting to go down there, and then seeing the great Australian country. I feel like it's way different than America. I know sometimes I feel like I miss it a lot being here when I'm there, but I really get to enjoy going down there, and when it's in the winter time here, and getting to enjoy the Australian summers is really cool, and I just have a lot of fun doing it. It's getting to race against the Australian competition, and their tracks are totally different. So it takes a lot of things I learned here that really help me. I think that they help me shine, you could say, there when we go to a lot of different tracks who aren't really the same from here.
When you are down there, Chase, do you get much time to kind of tour around and visit see what Australia has to offer? You get much time away from the track, and what do you like to do when you're down there?
Yes, I feel like the last year I went down there, we didn't get much kind of vacation time because we kind of ran on our schedule. We kind of put out we ran as many races as we could because we wanted to, just showcase our team. I've been partnered up with Daniel Mason for the past couple of years, and we wanted to just race as much as we could. So I didn't get much vacation time this last year, but I feel like this year moving forward, we're kind of getting our schedule, turned back a little bit so we can get, a little more downtime in between races. And I feel like just hit the big ones really good. I feel like to give us the best shot at getting a few feature wins there.
I want to let our viewers know that while you're watching, you can go up to the top left corner and scan that QR code, and you can check out all of Chase Randall's merchandise and support him. So Chase, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but obviously you're finishing out this year. 2025 is still not too far around the corner. Obviously, you said that you're in some talks, and I know on social media your name's been kind of thrown around for silly season and all of that craziness. But I mean, you don't have to go into too much details. But what ideally for you are you looking at? Are you looking on going maybe Outlaws or High Limit tour, or staying Knoxville regular, or kind of picking and choosing the different races that you're doing now?
Yeah, I think definitely my goals are going on an outlaw or high limit tour. I feel like the past couple years, being located, near Knoxville and racing here during the years, during the past couple years, I've, been getting a lot of experience here and, traveling when we can. I feel like before and after the season here, I think a lot of that has prepared me for, going out on the road. I feel like, and I think, next year would be a good time to do that. You have to have your first year once. So I've that's been my goals, and I feel like I'm at a point in my career where I'm ready to go after it and get on a national tour and kind of show what I can do.
And we'll wrap up here. We always end our show, Chase, with our rapid fire segment brought to you by DJD Gear. We've got 10 questions to come at you. You just come up with the first answer that comes to your head, and Jacob, you're going to take it away.
All right, Chase. So for the first question for you is, what's your go-to order at Bush's Chicken?
My go-to order at Bush's Chicken is 4 tenders, fries, and a sweet tea.
Chase, who gave you the nickname Quickest Chicken?
So several years ago when I was racing quarter midgets, I was on the USAC national tour back then, and I always had Bush's Chicken on the side of my cars, and the announcer, he just one day gave it the nickname Quickest Chicken, and it's stuck around ever since then, maybe since I was like 7 years old.
And then you obviously race a lot at Knoxville, but if you had to choose one racetrack, Knoxville or Eldora?
Knoxville.
If you had a high limit playlist, what would be one song that would be on it?
Put me on the spot. There's a song called State of My Head. It's by Shinedown. I really like that song.
Going old school.
Yeah.
Between the high limit and World of Outlaws, which is stiffer competition in your opinion?
Me personally, I feel like the high limit has the stiffer competition throughout the field.
All right. What's your favorite thing to do outside of racing?
My favorite thing to do outside of racing is probably play golf.
What's your handicap?
I couldn't tell you that.
What's one race car that you haven't driven yet that you'd really like to drive?
I feel like I would like to drive an Indy car once.
Ooh, nice. Who's your favorite sprint car driver growing up?
Brian Clausen.
And if you could win one crown jewel event at any racetrack, what would it be?
The Knoxville Nationals.
Perfect. I figured that would be the answer. That's probably the right one.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for sticking with us through some technical difficulties there towards the end. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
It looks like we lost Jacob. Hopefully he hasn't blown out a window or anything. So yeah, thanks for coming on, man. And good luck the rest of the year. I'll be at Charlotte for World Finals. So hopefully you got a ride and we'll see you there.
Awesome. I thank you a lot. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night. All right. Jacob and I want to thank Chase for coming on. As you can see, it's just me. Jacob's not here. Hurricane Milton, unfortunately, has hit Florida early, and Jacob's power has been really iffy. He's okay. Just Wi-Fi connection and lights flickering and all that kind of stuff. So I had to finish off the last 5 questions for the rapid fire segment, in case you noticed that the voices definitely changed towards the end. So as you know, a lot more important things than racing going on in the state of Florida, especially with a couple of our former guests, Danny Sams and Connor Morrell, being down there, as well as my podcast partner, Jacob. So we're sending all of our thoughts and prayers down to the people of Florida who are going to be affected by this big storm that's coming through. So at the end of this episode, going to post some information, how you can help. You don't have to be from the US if you want to chip in $5, $10, $15, whatever, to the American Red Cross and other agencies that are going to be helping out down there. So it's supposed to get pretty nasty over the next 24, 36, 48 hours. So again, just wishing all the best for the people down in Florida, and our thoughts are with you.
After the Scales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.